Welcome back, my name's Steve and thank you for joining me today on my photography journey. Today I want to talk about my most versatile setup. This is my Nikon Z5 attached to my Nikon 24 to 200mm f4 to 6.3 lens, and this is what I use most of the time to take the pictures that I most prefer. The reason that I prefer this combination is I've got the full frame sensor on the Z5 and I've got the versatility of the 24 to 200mm focal length on this particular lens. So that means that I can take anything from wide angles to more telephoto. And for me this is the most versatile because it means that when I'm out and about I just need to take one lens, one camera, and I know that I'll have everything that I need. Yes, I've spoken previously about really enjoying the Z30 with the power zoom DX lens. I'm filming this on that right now and I really enjoy using that one. However, it doesn't give me everything that I need. So the Z5 has dual card slots, so that means I've always got a backup. I shoot RAW to both of them. And actually I'm going to do a comparison of RAW versus JPEG in a future video, just to show you the differences between the two different formats, because RAW files are bigger, they contain more data, so you can't fit as many of them onto the SD card in the camera as you can if they were just JPEGs. However, because they've got all of that data, you can actually then do a lot more with them in editing, and because I enjoy editing my pictures, making them look how I want them to look, that's a big bonus to me, being able to edit them as much as I want to without risking the colours falling apart, getting banding in the images, or just not being able to make something as light or as dark as I want it to be. The other main benefit of the Z5 over the Z30 is the fact that it's a full frame camera, which does mean that it's slightly better in low light situations. It's also slightly bigger pixel count, so it's a 24 megapixel sensor rather than the 21 megapixel sensor in the Z30. And the fact that I can then crop in a bit more means that it's just that little bit more versatile. I can use the FX camera like a DX camera and use just that part of the sensor, and then that gives me that crop factor as well to kind of gain a bit more with the zooming. But with the Z30, I can't do it the other way around. I can't make that DX camera into an FX camera. The main thing that I don't like when I'm out and about is changing lenses too much. There's too much risk of getting dirt, rain, dust, anything like that into the sensor or onto the back of the lens. And if I can stick to one lens the entire time, then I'm not always fumbling in my bag, trying to change lenses, trying to find somewhere to sit down and do that safely without dropping one off a cliff or into a lake or something. So having that 24 to 200mm range means that I've got lots more options of pictures that I can take, and up until recently that was as wide open as I could go. 24mm was as wide as I could go. Now that I've got that power zoom lens, it's 12 to 28mm, which is a full frame equivalent of 18mm at its widest, but I find that I don't want to go that wide that often. I more often want to go to the 200mm, which is where that other lens comes in. Yes, it is significantly heavier. It's the camera and the lens are both heavier than the Z30 and the 12 to 28. However, I find that if it's on my capture clip, if I've got a strap around my neck, then I don't notice it too much. When I'm actually taking pictures with it, I'm generally holding the grip, which is to my mind slightly better than the Z30 because it fits my hand a little bit better. And then I'll put one hand underneath the lens to support that as well. And then that way everything's nice and comfortable, it's nice and easy to use, and it doesn't really get in the way, it's not too heavy. I also like the fact that the touch screen on the back can tilt in this orientation. So it can go down and up. It doesn't have to come out to the side first, which on the Z30 is really useful at times. For example, I can look at myself on that little screen at the moment and check everything is in the frame. However, having to go out to the side and then twist it up and down makes it more difficult to actually use when taking pictures. And the other thing is the viewfinder. I also miss having a viewfinder when I'm trying to take pictures with the Z30. I much prefer being able to put the camera up to my eye and take a picture rather than looking at everything on the LCD screen. It just feels a bit more natural to me getting it up to my eye and taking a picture like that. Battery life is the next thing. The battery on the Z5 will last all day without any concerns. I'm not worried at all about running out of battery. Whereas with the Z30, the fact that the battery is smaller does mean that you're more likely to run out of the battery that you need. Equally, I've got 2 batteries for the Z5 and only 1 for the Z30, so that probably doesn't help either. Because with the Z5, I know that I've always got a fully charged battery with me in order to swap over if I need to. With the Z30, yes, it's nice and easy to charge up using USB-C, well, so is the Z5 actually. But the Z30 runs down a lot quicker than the Z5 does. They both have the same modes on them. They both have fully auto mode, fully manual mode, aperture priority, shutter priority, and the P mode, which I've completely forgotten what it stands for at the moment. Tell me below in the comments. Having all of those modes, it gives you that flexibility. They both have the option of programming 3 different user modes, and that way you can program your own settings. So on both cameras I have 1, 2 and 3 set up for different situations. So actually they're the same on both cameras. It's setting 1 is for a continuous autofocus and setting 2 is for a single point autofocus. So it depends what I'm taking pictures of as to which one of those settings I use, and then I adjust the ISO, the shutter speed and the aperture depending on what I want to take pictures of. I mentioned already the weight and the size of these cameras and lenses, and I think the extra weight and size of the Z5 does actually make it feel better in my hands. The buttons are more in the right place, and as much as I love the Z30 and it is a nice easy camera to use, I do find that I'm struggling a little bit more to find the buttons that I need to press, and holding it isn't quite as comfortable as the Z5 is. So in conclusion, my most versatile camera setup is not the one that's the lightest, the easiest to carry. It's the one that I take most pictures with, and it's the one that I would, if I was in a situation where there was a picture in front of me that I really wanted to take, that is what I would rather have with me. I would rather be able to zoom in to 200 than to zoom out to 18mm. I can always create a panorama if I want to get in more than I can fit in that one image. It's more difficult to zoom in further because that would result in cropping your image, which would then degrade the quality of it. And the fact that the Z5 has dual card slots and a bigger battery means that's what's more versatile to me than the smaller, lighter Z30. So that was just a quick comparison of these 2 different setups. I love them both, but I would rather have the Z5 with the 24 to 200mm lens on it. Maybe I'll swap them over and try that lens on the Z30 and the power zoom lens on the Z5 and see what we get with that. But if you've got any comments, do you prefer one over the other? Have you used both of them? Is there another camera that I've not included or another lens that I've not included? Let me know in the comments below. But other than that, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again next time on my photography journey. So have a great week. Bye.